Hi, welcome back to Reddit Stories. I'm Shane. Today's theme, it's all about school, man. School stories, back to school, different kinds of schools. And I'm joined today with two people who I think went to school, Arasha and Tommy. They've been doing this for about 10 minutes.
Even during room time.
Even as we're prepping for this episode, they've just been sitting there.
Have you gone to school, Arasha?
I did.
Thanks, Arasha.
I did go to school.
That's awesome.
Well, I did go to school, but I've said this many times, I was a pretty bad kid.
Did you like school?
No.
Okay.
Well, I was like good at school when I was in elementary school, but I wasn't a good student. And then it flipped where I wasn't doing as well in school, but I was a better student. Did that make sense to anybody?
So you were like well-behaved, but you were like failing, as opposed to like behaving.
Correct, yeah. But I wasn't actually failing, you know.
Yeah, you just weren't doing as well.
Right, exactly.
Tommy, did you like school?
Barely made it through college.
But you made it through college.
Sure did, just barely, just because I didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And now that I'm out of the structure, I miss the structure of school and learning. I like learning.
I enjoyed college for 10 years.
Yes, you did.
It was really nice,
right.
off and on.
Yeah.
Like a class at a time here and there, but I really did enjoy it.
I like that. Space it out.
Yeah.
Why are we doing 4 classes a semester? We have our whole lives to live.
It's
Yeah, let's do what, half
Actually-
a semester a year?
Yeah.
actually true, it did eventually work, but it took a long time.
But here you are
It's true.
at your dream
We
job.
all end up right here.
And it's, to be fair, I'd been working here for years before I got my degree.
This is your college.
But I got my degree so that people can now comment, look at Shane using his psychology degree.
For
When
anything.
It's never true.
Yeah.
I don't really ever use it.
Unless that's
but-
your subconscious.
No, when I'm like guessing people based
Oh,
on
yeah.
their likes, I'm like, that's not psychology. They
No.
don't teach you that
No.
anywhere.
That's
like you're just an
friendship.
observant
It's just a bunch of
person.
general knowledge that I got, and
Yeah.
I lost most of it.
Yeah.
As did all of us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I don't remember a thing.
Yeah.
Here we go. First one comes from Am I the Asshole?
Okay.
Am I the asshole for snitching and causing my friend to lose her scholarship/dream college acceptance?
I don't see how you couldn't be.
Yeah, probably.
So let's see. Let's
No,
see.
it might be her fault. It might be her fault.
Yeah. All right, so we have a snitch, but what did this friend do?
Okay.
I, a 19-year-old woman, am a sophomore in college and have a friend, Tia, who's an 18-year-old woman, who is in high school and applying for colleges and scholarships. I helped her throughout the college process, and she ended up getting an early action to her top college. And she got a full scholarship. I was happy for her until recently. I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, and she started gushing about how Tia's essay was so heartfelt and beautiful. I asked to see it because I thought she had just forgotten to show me. She showed me many of her essay drafts. But as I was reading it, I was completely taken aback. The essay was one of my college essay drafts, which I'd shown to Tia for reference on writing techniques only. I made this clear. I was livid. The essay was really personal, and she barely even tweaked it up. It was almost entirely copy and pasted. I trusted her with it, and this is what she did. In a fit of rage, I gathered all the evidence of me helping her with the college process, including evidence of me sending the specific essay to her, and I showed it to the school. She not only lost her scholarship, but she has also lost her seat in the school. Now people are calling me dramatic and shaming me for robbing her of her education. She's the only person in her family to get into college and receive an academic and athletic scholarship, so everyone was rooting for her, including me at one time. And while I didn't expect the outcome to be so severe, it was. Right now, I feel bad. I feel terrible. I feel like she took advantage of me, but I didn't want to be the cause of something so horrible. I did myself a justice, but at the cost of someone's dreams. Now I'm wondering if what I did was justified or not. Am I the asshole?
Whoa.
Whoo!
Okay, this I feel like is so great in that it actually is like somewhat of a dilemma.
It is a little dilemma.
Yeah. I'll just say right off the bat,
Dilemma.
I'm not surprised by the verdict. The verdict is not the asshole.
Yeah.
And I mean, ultimately, that's one of those where I hear it and I'm like, she did completely copy your essay.
Plagiarized.
She plagiarized, and it's like, my thought is also, it's like, oh, I ruined her dream. I'm like, would she have even made it through college? Like,
Right, if she plagiarized that.
She can't even apply.
Right.
Like, you're gonna have to write more essays, and you're gonna get caught if you keep doing this.
Right.
Like, if you actually think you're capable of completing college, then you don't need to plagiarize. You can do it, and then you'll have to keep on doing it.
Or like get into the college that you deserve to get in with the essay that you wrote.
Yeah.
You know?
My thoughts are like, the context of her, being the first in her family for the scholarship and stuff like that. I feel like the way that I would have maybe gone about this is to communicate directly to this girl, especially if they had somewhat of a good relationship and was helping her draft it. Because I can also see that, like, maybe it was out of character for her. Maybe she was feeling a lot of pressure, and she was like, I really need to get into this college, and this is my last resort, especially if it was only one of the essays. I'm not excusing the behavior, but it might have been, like, a circumstance that she wouldn't have normally done that for. So I feel like I would rather have her communicate and be like, hey, I saw what you did, like, what is this? And try to resolve it that way.
The problem is it's too late. She already used it. She already got in.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not like in the process. It's not like, here's the essay I'm going to use. And it's like,
But
oh,
you're saying
fine.
retroactively.
Well, more like, is there a solution that could have made Tia feel like justice was served after the other girl was accepted into the college and given the scholarship?
It was Tia who used the essay and got in.
Oh, okay, okay.
We have OP, but Tia is the friend who plagiarized. It's just tough because I don't know what you would do. You'd go up to that friend and be like, hey, you stole my essay and used it to get into college. And she'd be like, I'm so sorry, I did do that.
Right.
And it's just kind of done.
Yeah, it's like you can't really accept that apology.
And OP didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, I don't know. I can't necessarily fault them, but it does suck that all this happened. Hopefully Tia can get into another college.
I hope so.
It sounds like with her grades and everything.
I hope Tamara can get into a college too. Didn't deserve the laugh.
No, I loved
Take it back.
I loved it. I will always take a Twitches.
Because it does suck. It does suck. Like, it's a very stupid thing that she does. But if she just now can't get into any college and won't go to college, it's like, well, that sucks.
Right.
Like, that does suck. But was she going to actually, But there's also a lot of time. College is, I think there's this idea, like kind of what we were saying, like, oh, you're not going to go to college now. It's like, you can go to college at any point in your life. Depending. I know things get really hard and it's so stupidly expensive that without a scholarship, it's borderline impossible.
Oh my gosh. Wait, you guys, actually, like, especially now, I just heard, like, I think it was BU or something. Their tuition is $90,000.
It's a,
Whoa.
look.
For BU? I don't know
Who's
what
got that?
Look, college was really important to me. I think education is super important. And there's a lot of stuff that I think I learned in college that I just don't think I would have gotten otherwise. But the price of everything is an absolute scam.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's 100% a scam.
Yeah.
The textbooks, I mean, it's just rigged. And I think it's designed to keep people out.
That's what I think COVID really revealed.
College is rigged.
Sorry, it's rigged. I mean, it kind of is. It is unfortunately, I think, extremely classist and rigged.
Yeah.
But this sucks. She's 18. It's an extremely dumb thing to do. I'm very much against plagiarism, despite the fact that I also think the way tests and even applications are also stupid too.
Yeah.
That's the only thing bouncing around in my head of just like, it's all like, sometimes it's just not fair. But like, you do something like this, like, you're not gonna get away with it.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I think she would have, I don't know what she would have done. But it's like, if you just keep on doing this, you're gonna get caught probably eventually.
She definitely thought
Doing
she
it,
wasn't
like,
going to.
Doing it also in like a dumb way. Like, it is so, like, this is gonna sound a little crazy, but it's also, everyone I think can relate to some degree at some point of like, plagiarism is when you're honestly just being lazy on top of, like, you can be very much inspired from, take things from, like, but you have to add your spin on it.
Yeah.
She could have absolutely found total inspiration from her friend's essay.
It's kind of a pick your battles thing because it's like, sort of, I don't know. Because is it that, like, what harm is it doing to the person that she stole the essay from?
She said it was really personal to her.
Okay.
So it was like
really personal essay.
It was like her story was being used.
It is purely feelings. There's no, she is not, it's not like this essay was stolen from her and now she can't use it.
No, this is Reddit stories, so if you do something wrong, you have to get murdered.
Yeah.
So I agree with that for sure, not the asshole. But it is interesting because it's like, I wonder if the person knew all of this would happen to her friend if she would have done it.
You have to, you know
Like
that the
the-
scholarship is going to get withdrawn.
Right.
I would know that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like what was she thinking would be the consequence? Like
I
a
think
slap on the wrist? She had to have known.
That's my only take on OP. OP being like, I didn't know all this would happen. I'm like, okay.
I think you probably know.
Also, don't treat us like we're stupid. Like,
Yeah.
you probably knew. Like, you were really mad. I questioned your friendship that you even had.
Right, that's
because
more
she
what
did this
I'm-
to you, and now you're doing it. I'm
You're
like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
And
I
not
know
even-
after this, you're never neither of them are talking ever
Oh,
again.
no.
Yeah.
A couple comments. Yikes, this may not end up being popular, but not the asshole. If Tia really copied your story, then that would be plagiarism and is a dishonest way of getting into college. It sucks she lost her acceptance and full ride, but she didn't really earn it in the first place if she cheated to get in. Someone else said, not the asshole, she wasn't actually accepted. The university thought they were accepting a different person. Lastly, someone said, not the asshole, she was accepted under false pretenses and she got exactly what she deserved. You didn't do this to her, she did it to herself. I mean, that's all true. I guess, once again, what's bouncing in my head is colleges accept people not based on their merit so much of the time.
Yeah.
Like, it is fully just a, like, nepotism
Right.
hot pot. But
For sure.
Yeah. This girl could have gone and been like, that's my essay. And they could have been like, we didn't even read
we
this
didn't even
essay.
fucking read it.
We didn't know.
Your parents gave us $30,000. That's why you're coming into
Yeah.
college.
I mean, not the case. I don't think in the
Copy
case of
that.
this girl, but yes, that is absolutely the case.
Tia.
Times. Tia, I hope you got into another college.
Tamara, hope you're staying home, feeling good.
There we go. We'll cut the earlier one.
No.
All right, next story. This comes from Relationship Advice. My lecturer hired me as a naked maid and is uncomfortable now, but I need him to get over it.
This is just like the first story.
Come on, Bailey, we gotta pick different types of stories.
I'm a female in my early 20s and he is at least mid-30s. I work for a cleaning service that offers nude or lingerie-clad maid service. There is no sex or touching, and if boundaries get crossed, then the client is struck from the client list. The client can ask for a type, example like hair color, race, weight, age, gender, but they cannot pick a specific maid. Their maid is assigned by the company. Both client and maid have the option of using a fake name, and pictures of either party are not provided. Any institutions the clients and maids are linked to, school or work, are also noted so something exactly like this doesn't happen. All of this is done for confidentiality. Clients can request after the first session that the same maid comes back, but that's it. I'm explaining this to show that it is impossible for him to have requested me or known it was me beforehand. I got a message from the company saying a nearby and anonymous client had requested a lingerie-clad maid and I was his type. I went in, jeans and a t-shirt with the lingerie underneath so he didn't see anything, knocked on the door, and my lecturer opened it. I realized what had happened and said that the agency typically filters these things out. Clearly there was an error, and I can stay and be professional or I can get him another maid, but whichever he chooses, we should both just forget this. He asked for another maid, so I called the office, explained, and left. The office says due to computer/human error, no one clocked that we are linked with the same school. I had to go into school a few days ago, along with some other classmates, and we ran into him. He was awkward, uncomfortable, wouldn't look me in the eye, and refused to even directly address me. We ran into him again later that day, and it was the same, if not worse that time. We also had some classes at the end of last academic year after the mix-up where I ended up at his place, and I was similarly ignored, though I attributed this at the time to the online format of the classes. This would just be one of those things, except I have classes with him all next year, as well as private meetings with him to discuss my studies. These have to be done with him, are compulsory, and can affect my grade. While I know that I can act professionally, I am concerned that he cannot, as it has been several months and he has still not passed it. I am putting a lot of time and money into this, and if this is indicative of how he will act for the remainder of it, I feel I will not get what I paid for and that my grades will suffer. I do not know how best to progress. I cannot afford to let my grade come to harm, but talking to him might make things even worse. Any advice? Damn.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean,
Professional queen.
super professional. And she showed up and he was like, oh, I'll request a different person. It's just like,
Professional
you
king.
guys can move on from this.
Yeah. I don't feel like talking about it would make it worse either.
And it's like,
Especially if it's just like, hey, we know that happened. Can
Right.
I'm your kid. I'm your kid.
It's been months and like it's fine. Like
Yeah.
maybe he's married and he's worried about, but probably not. Like,
Maybe she should wear a grimace costume.
When she shows
Go in the
up.
opposite direction of it all. You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
It's like you can't sexualize this.
but he
well,
didn't even. Yeah, he didn't.
Well,
Unless.
She showed up in jeans and a t-shirt. He didn't see her. Like, it was all like a very just like, oh, sorry about that. Let's move on.
Right.
But it's
I think
like in his head.
He's like, she knows that I
Want
this.
naked maids.
That is, she has that.
Right, but she
But
has to understand.
She works in the
She probably has a confidentiality clause. Like, nothing can happen. So it's just like,
Yeah.
and honestly, the more awkward you act, the more embarrassing I think it is.
Exactly.
If he was just like, oh, sorry, this service rocks.
Right.
You know,
Then
or
it's
whatever.
like, dude, let me stay.
You got another titty maid I could have?
Honestly, no, I'm into it too. I feel like they could have.
There's a lot.
She could have
there,
stayed.
I remember seeing this forever ago. When I would drive back and forth from my apartment, this was like 12 years ago, there was a bus that had like the naked maid thing. And I always saw it and I was like, well, all right, somebody probably uses that. And it turns out people do.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they just clean the home naked or in lingerie.
Yeah. I never used it myself, but.
And the guy's on the couch like,
Oh.
it's awful.
Yeah. But also they could kill two birds with one stone. He could talk about the lesson plan while she
That's so true.
you know?
You could do that probably with any housekeeper. You know,
You could teach any housekeeper anything.
Yeah, hey, you want to hear my
guess.
lecture while you clean? Like, you just do
They're
that.
like,
and they'll be like,
"Oh."
all right.
Yeah, wait, he's got a business he could start.
Oh.
They could team up.
Okay.
It's like, be naked in my home while I talk to you about
Right.
English.
Yeah. It's a BOGO.
Symbiotic relationships, amazing.
That's just what my Uber drivers do to me. You want to hear this lecture? And I'm like, I
guess I'm
You start
trapped.
stripping
My
the back
life is
seat.
in your hands. A couple comments here. I definitely would not bring this up to anyone unless you absolutely have to, or if he's done something you think is wrong. It sounds like you know he did nothing wrong. He's obviously very scared you will say something and that he could lose his job. I would definitely try to talk to him first if you're comfortable with that, just to reassure him that he's okay. Someone else said, I hope he doesn't think less of you. He might just be very embarrassed. OP responded, I also hope he doesn't think less of me, but in my experience, people often do. It isn't sex work, but it carries all of the stigma of that, and people have judged and insulted me over this before now, which is why I've been keeping it to myself. I hope this is just embarrassment on his part, but I still need him to get over it for the sake of my grade. Someone else said, how can you act like he's in the wrong? You have a tremendous deal of power over him and could easily get him fired if you wanted to. Just continue on with the class, pass it, and move on like a normal person. OP said, I don't think he's in the wrong. All he did was hire a maid. My only concern with him is that he's ignoring me, which could impact my studies, as a significant amount of the rest of my degree relies on him interacting with me, which he is not doing. I can't pass his course without participating in class and having private meetings with him, and I can't do either of those if he is ignoring me.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah,
She knows where he lives.
She's great.
That's true. I think I see where the conversation could be awkward or in her eyes, like make it worse. But I think she has, it sounds like the cadence to be able to hold that conversation and say like, hey, nobody did anything wrong.
Yeah.
Let's move forward and stop being weird.
I definitely don't think she should ever be in trouble for what she's doing at all. And I guess my question is, can he be fired for this?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
I don't know anything about, I mean, depending on the state or whatever, but I wouldn't think so. This is a legal business
Yeah.
that she's part of.
And they took all the necessary
Yeah,
steps
then
to
nothing
avoid
happened.
the misunderstanding or whatever happened in this system.
Yeah. Update.
Uh-oh. He joined.
Job. He's now a naked
We have
maid.
a new maid. How's it going?
Yeah, and he teaches on the job.
Hey.
We pitched this already.
All right, here's the update.
Oh, he was fired.
He reported me. I booked a meeting. I know. I booked a meeting with him during office hours so I could clear the air, as was suggested on my last post, and then followed it up with an email that simply said that as school is starting up again and its final year, I'd like a chance to meet with him to talk about my dissertation and make sure he approved of the topic before I launched into it, something that is completely standard and everyone else is doing, but was somehow enough to panic him. The maid service I work for also offers completely clothed maids, so from what I can gather, he's gone to the university saying he paid for a fully clothed maid and only went through this service because of their extensive vetting. But when I showed up, I offered to do it naked in exchange for extra help on my dissertation. He said no. Obviously, this is bullshit, and I got the recording of the phone call I had with work and gave it to the university, which was enough to stop the investigation, but I couldn't get his payment records to prove he paid for lingerie due to the anonymous payment system. Any more than that would require a legal case, which I can't afford, and even if I did manage to stay here, I would still have to be in his classes as they are mandatory. At the same time, my university has basically said that they can't put me in his classes after this because I have essentially been accused of sexually harassing him. He must have reported me the second I sent in my meeting request because I got the email from the person dealing with this literally less than a week later. I have no clue what the he's thinking. I'm assuming he thought I would report him and decided to get ahead of it, but even that makes no sense at all as all I did was request a meeting. Whatever his logic, I am dropping out. I am 1 year off completing my degree, so I've submitted some inquiries about transferring to nearby universities. But because this has happened right at the start of a new school year, it's going to be 10 times harder than it would be if this happened over summer or last year. The only upsides are that I've not actually been expelled slash suspended, so I won't need to explain this to anyone. The university seems fine to just let me go quietly, and another lecturer is writing me a reference. The agency has also said they will blacklist him, and they share this info with other services, so hopefully he won't be able to do this to anyone else, just Jesus Christ. Adding that I have had a free consultation with a lawyer and I will not be pursuing legal action. The best case scenario where I win, my name is cleared, and I can stay in this university, my profession will still be outed. I will be shunned by classmates and staff members alike, and my lecturer will continue to be a dick, and I'll be staying at a uni that have confirmed they will throw me under a bus to save a Weasley prick. Even the best case scenario will also earn me a black mark next to my name in academic circles.
Oh,
Damn.
What a douche.
yeah.
Dude.
No more naked maids for him.
God. That sucks.
That is so shitty. Like his ego getting in the way, and even if he thought she was gonna report him, like there's no need for him to just like jump the gun and report her or be so scared that he can't even have that conversation himself. Like he's supposed to be the grown-up in that situation. He's the professor.
Yeah.
And he's handling it so poorly.
Men.
Yeah.
Lecturers.
Lecturers. That's infuriating.
That sucks. Oh well, it's meant to be maybe. Maybe something weird would have happened at the college and it's like, this is the universe pushing her into a new thing.
I mean,
It's redirection.
She's made her decision. She did
everything right.
I have a lot of confidence in this woman. She seems very smart.
Brain is
Yeah.
Like she is going to work it all out. It just sucks. I mean, she laid it all out, and I hear her
She laid
logic.
it all out.
Like, you know, she is sadly, I think, correct in her analysis of what would play out with her
Oh,
chess
yeah.
moves.
For sure.
So she is making what's the best move for her, but it's just unfortunate.
It is
So
unfortunate.
sad.
Damn.
Yeah.
Good for her though. She got her head on straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's got a good attitude about it as well.
Yeah.
It just sucks because it's not something where she did absolutely nothing wrong.
Exactly.
Like, there's no lesson for her to gain
No.
from this. Because just like, no, like,
Besides, some people are stupid.
then, like, this was just bad luck.
But I like that take of that this is for something else then. It must be just something else.
Kind of the
that's
only take you
needed.
can have at that point.
Yeah.
You know, you
It's the
kind of
only
have
silver lining
to.
you can.
You kind of have to
offer
trust, like, all right, this is where I'm going.
Yeah. Oh,
Damn.
All right, next story. This comes from Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for complaining about the signs at my daughter's preschool? My daughter, who's 3, just started preschool and has a teacher, I'm guessing college age, that is very honest, sometimes coming off as a bit rude. I had to stop allowing my daughter to bring her toys to school because they always get lost and this teacher is no help when it comes to finding them. She brought a little Lego creation that she wanted to show her friends and didn't have it at the end of the day. I asked the teacher where it was. She didn't know. I asked her to look for it and she said that there's no way she would be able to tell our Legos from theirs and that my daughter would not be getting any Legos back. Another time, she went to school with a sticker on her shirt. She was crying when I picked her up because the sticker was gone. I asked the teacher to look for it, and she said, I will not be tearing apart my classroom and playground to find a sticker that fell off 4 hours ago. Other kids have gone home with my daughter's jackets, and we've had to wait a week one time to get it back. Lately, there's been 2 notices taped to the window that I am certain are written by this teacher. The first one says, your child is not the only one with the pink puffer jacket or Moana water bottle. Please label your child's belongings to ensure they go home with the right person. And the second one says, we understand caring for a sick child is difficult, but caring for 12 of them isn't any easier. Please keep your child home if they have these symptoms. In my opinion, there is absolutely no reason for these notes to be this snarky and obviously aimed at very specific parents. I complained to the director about this teacher's conduct and the notices on the window, but nothing has come of it. My husband thinks I'm overreacting. Am I the asshole for complaining?
Interesting.
That's an attack on Moana.
I feel bad for Moana in this situation.
I feel really bad for Moana.
Is in fact not the asshole.
It feels like at the beginning, I was like, this teachers work hard. There's a lot of kids. Can't keep track of a sticker. It's
a sticker being gone, it's like the sticker's gone.
It's like
the sticker's
gone. And the Lego, it's like there's a lot of kids and a lot of stuff. That's hard. But then when you take it to be like, your kid and your Moana water bottle.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you don't have to go like that.
Yeah,
It's like, you can scale it back.
The jacket is definitely when the stakes were raised. Like, if kids are going home with like full clothes that like your kid was wearing, I think it's very fair to be like, hey, like, can we have some sort of conduct in the classroom?
Right.
I agree. The sticker was probably not even sticky anymore, so I'm not sure.
But even with the jacket, I'm like, is that entirely on the teacher? Because also those parents pick up that kid who has this kid's jacket and aren't saying anything. Like,
I used to work with a lot of kids, and what I had kind of learned when I was like babysitting and nannying and stuff like that is that a lot of times, like, I don't know if it is supposed to be, but a lot of what I have seen is teachers taking on a lot of that responsibility of the classroom, the kids, all of their belongings, like their backpacks, water bottles, things like that. Like, I have seen the standard of like labeling, like putting your name on it. I don't think that's a crazy ask.
Yeah.
But I also know that like when I lose something, like I usually reach out to somebody that's like generally in charge of like the space, and I'm like, hey, are we able to find this belonging that I left behind? And it isn't like, well, you know, you honestly should be doing that. It's a lot of like, hey, let me see what I can find out. Like, let me help troubleshoot. And so in my eyes, it feels like the teacher just isn't being helpful. I don't know if the specifics of it are making her an asshole, but the attitude and kind of being like, listen, I can't help you, so stop asking kind of sign is what's upsetting. So I wouldn't say that she's overreacting. I think her feelings are for sure valid if this teacher is being, again, snarky and seems like is having a very pointed attitude towards parents. But it doesn't seem also like a direct attack.
Yeah, and I guess I wonder where this school is, and like, I don't know. I mean, this does seem like very much a little entitled on the mom's part.
Yeah.
Just like, asking for a sticker back is a little crazy.
No, yeah, this is Brentwood.
Just being like, you're like this teacher, and I think automatically assuming the note is like that tone. I mean, it is your child is not the only one with the pink puffer jacket or Moana water bottle. Please label your child's belongings to ensure they get home to the right person. It's like, okay, like you could have just said, please label all the things, or like said that.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Teachers are also dealing with.
But I wonder how much she's dealt with, not from this mom, but other parents.
I was about to say, they're dealing with 30 of these parents.
Yeah, it's like
that
there's
are all
a bunch
complaining.
of kids, and they're all like, you need to be on top of all this. It's just like, it's gonna slip up.
Right. That's the other perspective I feel like I've also seen is parents ultimately being like, you know, in the effort of passing on their kid for the school or whatever it is, it's a lot of like, okay, well, you do this, or well, now you take over. And it's like, nope, this is still your child, and you still have a lot of control over making sure that they have their own things, teaching them responsibility of not mixing up the Legos or whatnot.
Yeah, it does seem like she wants the teacher to do all of this and not her child. I know her child's 3, but it's like, you should still, it's still like you start teaching that, and it's like, you're probably not gonna get the Legos back, but it's like, hey, this is your responsibility. I'm going to be leaning on you since you're 3, but it's your responsibility.
I'll cut you some slack.
But like, this teacher's keeping track of a bunch of 3-year-olds. I mean, that's impossible.
Yeah, that's already hard without items to also keep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The verdict was you're the asshole. Comments are you are the asshole and ridiculous. Are you for real? You want a sticker back? You want Lego back? Spend 1 hour in that place and see what happens. They are looking after the children, not their belongings. Someone said, you're the asshole. The teacher is setting out fair and reasonable expectations to parents who clearly don't understand the realities of that environment. Lastly, someone said, learn to say no to your daughter about taking anything of value to school or mark it like the teacher suggests. Those signs are brilliant because they are memorable. You're the asshole for thinking the world revolves around your precious princess. Stickers don't stick anymore after they've fallen off. Give it up, Mom. Your husband is right. You're overreacting. Damn. The sticker thing is crazy.
That part.
That's like a little telling for me where I'm like, you wanted a sticker back?
Yeah.
Like, because your child is sad, the sticker's gone. It's like
Right.
another great lesson opportunity of like, sometimes you're gonna lose a sticker. There's no update on this. I think it's just.
This feels pretty cut
The
and
sticker
dry.
wasn't found?
Yeah, it's no sticker.
What?
The sticker is gone, dude.
Damn.
How's
I
Moana?
can't imagine the parents that teachers have to deal with.
I know.
Oh.
I had a friend that quit being a teacher because of the parents.
I believe it.
Yeah.
It's always the parents. It's not the kids.
It's always the parents. Oh,
Yeah,
no, the
yeah.
kids aren't the problem.
It's like, oh no, my kid this and my kid that, and did you know that my kid this? And you're like, yeah, times 12 or however many are in the classroom.
I remember when I was in school, we progressively throughout the years, like there was less and less things at our school, like less freedom because parents kept threatening to sue for like just the smallest, dumbest shit. So it's like, all right, by the end, when I left, you weren't allowed to run at recess. Because a kid had run into a pole, I think, and then the parents threatened to sue because their kid ran into a pole. It's like, I'm like, running into a pole is like, that's how you graduate 4th grade.
No, you have to do that.
That is.
You
that's
need to
like,
go through
You run
that.
into a pole and your friends are like, it's finally happened for you.
Yeah.
You shake the hand, you get
have
the
been-
diploma, and you run into a pole.
You've been chosen. No, like it's true. Like I was just like, wow, the parents suck. They cannot tolerate that maybe their kid's in the wrong. Maybe it's their turn to take responsibility. It's like, no, we got to alter the environment.
People love to threaten to sue.
Yeah, dude.
Sue.
Sue.
So
You don't have to have kids.
that's also true.
I think they wanted kids, Tommy. I think in this case, the parent wants their kid.
I think with these types of, but these are also the parents that I don't think they wanted a kid. They wanted an extension of themselves.
Right.
Ooh.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. No, they don't view it as a kid.
Yeah. It was her sticker.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Poems.
Deep.
Today's episode of Red Stories is brought to you by ZocDoc. There's a lot of things in life that can be a total crapshoot. You know, impulse buys, trying out a new restaurant. But when it comes to picking the right doctor, you do not want that to be a crapshoot. You want to be certain you're finding the right one. And ZocDoc makes it easier than ever. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skin care, and much more. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. I've used ZocDoc, and it's so simple. It lays it out so well. I found doctors nearby. I found appointments that were far sooner than I would have ever expected. They made it a lot easier than going through any other website. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/pitreddit to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/pitreddit. ZocDoc.com/pitreddit. Back to the show. All right, next story. Back to relationship advice.
Thank God.
I, a 46-year-old man, promised my son, an 18-year-old, that his mother and I would match whatever he saved for a car upon his high school graduation. He ended up with a lot more than we could have predicted, and now we don't know what to do.
Oh no.
That's fucking awesome. When he turned 16 and got his license, we allowed him to use an old car from our relative. At that time, my son had around $5,000 in savings. Damn. We made him a promise saying that we'd match whatever he ended up with at graduation. Reasonably, we thought he'd maybe double that to $10,000 through jobs, and we'd match for a reasonable $20,000 car. He now has $35,000 to use for a car. He said he did have a little over 10K, but that he bought smart stock options in April and now will have around 35K after tax. Personally, I don't think he did anything besides get stupid lucky. He is insisting that we follow through with our promise and match that. Financially, it's not a huge dent for us since he also surprised us with a nice merit scholarship that he did earn. The problem arises in that we really don't want to break the promise we made to him, but we also strongly believe that an 18-year-old driving around in a $70,000 car is a very bad idea. He can't even take it to school until his sophomore year, and the insurance on that will be a nightmare. What I am asking is, would the better course of action be to break the promise and likely face resentment, or keep it and cough up the money? Thanks in advance for the advice.
I can't even, first of all,
I don't understand,
with this
man.
issue.
Yeah.
Like,
I can't relate less.
I can't relate. Just like that's.
They're like, our son made so much money and we have so much money, but like we
I know,
can give it to them.
For a second,
Should we
I thought, oh, I'm like, maybe you guys are like, oh shoot, we don't have that money. I'm
Right.
like, okay, that's fair. But I'm like, they're like, the fact that he just like is like this, it's not a huge dent for us, and because our son also got a scholarship, so we're not gonna have to pay for his college. I'm like,
There's
you guys
so
lucked
much,
out.
Yeah, there's so much money. What do we do with it?
Our son, a boy genius, our son Dexter. The only thing I understand.
I'm just upset.
No,
I'm
this is
so
like,
pissed.
damn,
I'm like, F you and your son.
this is someone's life.
Get the car.
You donate it.
What I understand, what I do think is valid is being like, I don't want my son driving a $70,000 car. And I'm like, yeah, I think that's a little bit of a waste. Your son is, I think you talk to your son and be like, look, you already have made some really smart decisions. I think you should buy a $30,000 car, and then we will give you, and we'll put it in a savings account that you'll then have once you graduate.
Yes.
It's like you earned the money, we're gonna give you that money, but you've made some smart stock options. Let's put that in an investment account.
Yeah, which also could never be me.
That $40,000 will be $60,000 in a couple. It's like things are already so good. It's like reward this behavior.
Yeah.
You also made a promise.
Yeah.
Totally.
You're talking to an 18-year-old who did stock options.
Like your
has
son
money.
is smarter.
He's
than
like, he's gonna want like a Mercedes. He's gonna want some.
But it's
car.
like
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we promised that we would match the money, but don't like. I don't know. It's also like these people are fine.
Right. You
kid
are watching this.
This kid could get a Mercedes, wreck it, and it's like, oh well, I guess you're gonna be fine anyway.
Right. They're like, we could save him.
Literally not fail in life.
Yeah. Does it say that like he specifically is going to use all that money for a car? Because if he's smart, I feel like he's also going to pocket some of the money and be like, I'll use this for other stuff.
It's just like we made him a promise that we'd match. I don't know. It doesn't say specifically, I think, that it would be for the car. That's what's crazy is I think he's just using that as a little bit of an excuse.
Yeah.
Maybe.
He just gagged his parents.
Some comments here. I can say that a $70,000 car with an 18-year-old driver, you'll be lucky to get insurance, and even if you do, it'll be stupid high. Someone said, having saved up $35,000 at 18, with the possibility of that being $70K and having a full ride scholarship, puts him in a better financial position than probably 99.9% of his peers. I would try and talk through that with him, but I guess an 18-year-old who wants to buy a $70,000 car has different priorities than that. Someone else said, be a parent and tell him the truth. He's your son, not a mafia godfather. I like the attitude of like, he's 18, it is the money that he's like entitled to. I feel like the parents can do that conversation of like, this is where we'd like to guide you towards with doing with the rest of the money. But at the end of the day, I think a promise is a promise, and you got to teach this kid a lesson. And that might be like, sure, like wreck your car, do whatever you need to do. But I personally feel like it is his task to, like, he's gotten this far already. He's so smart, and yeah, maybe it was luck, but I think the money is his. He can get advice from his parents and be led to the water, but he can't be forced to drink it. Wow. It's an insane story. I mean, this is some straight up like my son, Bruce Wayne.
Right.
I'm just like, dude, an 18-year-old with $70,000.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, if you're gonna honor the promise, then do it different. I don't know.
Yeah, like maybe don't make that promise.
Because I don't
know.
the thought of, a $70,000 car with an 18-year-old driver. I guess there's a lot of them out there.
I mean, I wonder what
see
the
'em in
parents
LA.
drive.
They're living in a different world than
Yep.
those people. So the
Yeah.
rules are different for them.
Right, so we're just guessing.
Just thinking about how I'm almost twice his age with less than half that amount of money.
Yeah. Yeah, at 18, you probably have
dark day.
$35, like max.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still
I mean,
have
let's be real.
$35.
This kid is gonna have money regardless.
Congratulations.
Good for him.
Yeah, no, we're breaking down the big stuff today.
We're
Changing the world today.
And that's why this is the finale of Reddit Stories.
Goodbye. It's over after this one.
Okay, our next story comes from Best of Redditor Updates, and I have heard about this one, and it is insane.
Strapped in.
I didn't get a job because I was a bully in high school.
Good. Moving on.
We don't need to read it. I've been trying to break into a niche industry, 30 to 40 jobs in a city with a population of 3 million, lingerie maid.
Got it.
No, I'm just kidding. I've been trying to break into a niche industry, 30 to 40 jobs in a city with a population of 3 million for a while now. I'm in my late 20s, and though it took me some time to decide what I wanted to do with my life, I have finished my degree and completed 2 internships. I'm working part-time in a related field and freelancing while searching for a full-time job in the niche industry. I'm willing to move for the right job, but I'd rather stay close to home. So I was stoked last summer when I got an interview for one of the very few entry-level jobs available in my city. I ultimately didn't get it, but the interview went well enough they encouraged me to apply the next time they had an opening. Then an acquaintance who works at the company called me up and asked if I wanted to get coffee. I figured she'd offer me tips on how to do better next time. Instead, she told me to give up on ever being hired there. Turns out, a girl I had gone to high school with is a real rock star at this company, and she threatened to resign when it looked like I was about to be offered a job. I hadn't realized it was her because her married name is different. I'll be honest, I wasn't a very nice person back then, and I probably was pretty awful to this girl. I looked my former classmate up, and her resume really is incredible. She graduated from college early and has won awards people who've worked in our industry twice as long haven't won. Her public-facing work is top-notch. I'm guessing she's the kind of employee a manager wants to keep around. My acquaintance's prediction appears to be true. I didn't get an interview for a new position at the company that would have been an even better fit than the one I'd interviewed for. When I asked why, I was told a staffer had raised some concerns and the company would not be moving forward with my candidacy. I'm heartbroken. I worked so hard for so long to get the training required for this type of work, and I don't think I deserve to be blacklisted for something I said when I was 17. I have my former classmate's work email. Should I beg for forgiveness? We need to know what she did, though.
Yeah, this is yet another
There's a whole
dilemma.
lot of layers to that. Like, to be like, I will quit this job. Like, I'm the best at this company. I will quit this job. It's like,
honestly, I feel like I'm kind of on her side.
the OP.
No.
Oh, the person who's
the
starting to
bullied.
quit.
Yeah. I don't know. I again, of course, I definitely need more context, but I feel like it doesn't even feel like the petty thing to do, but I feel drawn to also speak up in the company. If somebody was hiring somebody that wronged me a while ago, I feel like I would be like, hey, I don't want this person here, and they affected me enough to still remember it.
Right.
Yeah.
I do also hear, though, him saying, like, when I was 17, I did this. And it's like, okay, but you have to right that wrong. So I think, you have to beg for forgiveness, or you have to make it up in some way. But you can't expect for people to just forget about the way that you made them feel, regardless of how long ago it was.
It's tough for me, like, it's not tough to relate to, but like at a certain level, because I didn't go to high school. But is it almost like a thing where when people are in high school, it's almost like, oh, this different life. And once you graduate, it's like, oh, did that even exist? But if you did something wrong to someone in high school in some manner of way, is it valuable, even if it's like years later and you haven't seen them, to like reach out to them and apologize? Just because like stuff from high school and like grade school like can really like live with people a long time. Like, is it mean something to be like, hey, I remember I was really mean to you in high school, and I just want you to know, like, I'm sorry.
I'd love
and I feel like just,
Absolutely.
I'd love
and what sucks for her is had she done that years before or like whenever, before this situation, then she could have been like, hey, I apologize to you. And like, but now she'll apologize in a way that's like, well, you just want the job.
Totally.
Right.
You're doing it now because it serves you.
Yeah.
But the difference, because I've been in the acting industry for so long, like, it's such a known thing of like, be careful, like, don't burn bridges in this industry of any sort. Like, even people who are far less successful than you, like, if you're shitty to the PA, a couple years later, they are a producer suddenly. Like, it's just the way this industry works, and like, you should be nice to everyone because you never know who's going to be giving you work.
Totally.
Eventually. True. And also just don't be shitty ever, because like, the makeup artist is gonna talk to the art department, and then art department's gonna be talking to that person. Like, everyone knows in this industry who's a piece of shit.
Totally.
So she kind of screwed herself. She's now known in this industry already to be a piece of shit.
Right.
Before she's even gotten into it.
Yeah, I feel like I relate. Like, I am putting myself in these shoes. I feel like even earlier than high school, like I had some bullies in middle school, and if they like reached out and they tried to like get a job at Smosh, I would absolutely be like, no.
Really?
Oh yeah. But again, I know what they did to me. You know what I mean? Like, it's, the context is so important. If it's like it was a passing comment or it was like harassment, right? Like, those are two very different things. But also, I would also confirm and agree that if they had reached out, regardless of how awful and horrible that was, if they had reached out like years and years after, even like last year, and they were like, hey, I just wanted to say, I'm really sorry. Like, I've been reflecting and, you know, I apologize for this. I am all about reunions and forgiveness.
Yeah.
I would have looked it over. But it's, now that it's a job that like you're using me for, it's like, I don't know that would change much.
It's tough to know. It's tough to know, like, the guarantee of people changing. You know, with Reddit, I do judge OPs for what they don't include in. She's like, I'll be honest, I wasn't that nice back then. I'm like, what'd you do?
What'd you do?
Tell us what you did. Like, you're not giving us an opportunity. You want advice. This, like, I mean, so this was not originally posted on Reddit, actually. This was posted from a forum that then got posted on Reddit. But it's still, like, you need to give us the context.
Right.
That changes everything.
I think
there are jokes that are said in high school that's like, you were 17. And then there's harassment that's like, people, you may not have changed in 10 years. Or she just cannot take that risk.
Or also, like, that's the shitty layer of it for me, is that this is something that didn't affect OP that much, like, didn't even think about it when she saw the other person's name, like, versus this other person who has probably, again, if it is that much of her harassment or bullying that she received, it was probably trauma. It probably actually put her through years of therapy and was something that she needed to work on. And then here is this bully trying to come into her environment. It's not a big deal to her, but to the girl who was bullied, it's a huge, massive thing.
A massive part of her life. Update.
Right.
Here we go.
Good.
I know you didn't solicit an update, but I felt compelled to send one. I did delete the draft of an apology email I'd had sitting in my inbox for some time. I applied for one more job with Rockstar's company, and when I didn't hear back, I decided it was really and truly time to look elsewhere. I found a shop in a town 7 hours away that was desperate to hire someone for a paid 9-month fellowship that started in June because the candidate they'd originally extended an offer to found a full-time permanent position. I said goodbye to my boyfriend, packed up my car and 2 cats, and drove to a town I'd never been to. And I hated it. Not the work, I actually loved the work, but the town sucked. Being away from my boyfriend and my family sucked. Not being able to make friends sucked. Everyone else my age was married with 2 kids already. I called my boyfriend every night crying. He was supposed to come visit me over Labor Day, but canceled at the last minute because he had to work. Seeing how bummed I was, a coworker offered to swap shifts with me so I could make the trip home for the long weekend. I hopped into my car after work on Friday and drove all evening, arriving at the place I'd been sharing with my boyfriend before I moved, a little after 1 a.m. Well, you probably know where this was going. He was cheating on me. I was devastated. Spent the rest of the night sobbing on my sister's couch and drove back to where I was working the next morning. Except I couldn't make myself get out of bed on Tuesday, or Wednesday, or Thursday. I was fired after my 3rd no-call, no-show. I tried to get the part-time job I'd had before moving for the fellowship back. They'd said come back anytime. But they'd found someone who was faster and more efficient than I'd been. Unable to afford a place on my own, I had to move back in with my parents. Not sure what else to do, I sent another desperate application to Rockstar's shop. In an effort to cheer me up, my sister and my friends took me out for a nice dinner for my birthday at the end of September. This is where it goes from bad to worse. I drank too much wine at dinner and got pretty weepy. I excused myself from the table to try and put myself together and ran into Rockstar and her husband celebrating their anniversary on the way to the bathroom. I ended up yelling/crying at her that she'd ruined my life. I was asked to leave and told I wasn't welcome back. That was Saturday night. I spent Sunday hungover in bed trying to figure out how to clean up the mess I made. On Monday morning, Rockstar's manager, the one hiring for the job I'd applied for, emailed me to let me know I'd been removed from the candidate pool. She advised me that I would not be considered for future positions at their shop or any other in their network. That afternoon, without mentioning me or what happened at the restaurant over the weekend, Rockstar tweeted a long thread about how she'd been bullied in high school and she wishes teenagers would realize that high school ends and it does not get better. She also tweeted out links to local mental health resources and the National Suicide Hotline that were liked/retweeted many, many times. So just to recap, no job, no boyfriend, no money, no hope of ever breaking into the industry I spent 5 years preparing to enter. It's hard to not feel like some of this is Rockstar's fault, especially given how she rubbed salt in the wound after my whole world had come crashing down.
Are you
What
kidding?
did you do to her?
Is there nothing on what she did or anything? No comments or anything?
Because she's scared. She's never going to put that out there. And
Yeah.
clearly, if this other girl is putting out that much information.
Those types of resources. I wonder if in the comments anyone knows what those tweets were. We couldn't find them. But
reach out to us.
I don't think it takes seeing it to know how bad this probably was.
Yeah.
I mean, but also, OP just went and pulled a full-on, like, A24 movie at her.
Right.
Sobbing and crying. It's like, all right, we've seen enough here. Like,
and also, it shows that maybe her character hasn't changed if she's still blaming Rockstar, which, by the way, I love that.
Love that.
She's blaming Rockstar for everything that's happening to her when it is simply completely her
Getting
fault.
belligerent on wine and sobbing at someone saying they've ruined their life. It's like,
this feels
Get a
like
grip.
This feels like the main character in an HBO show.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just like, okay, we hate you.
I at least
but-
thought the sobbing was going to be, I'm so sorry. Like, sobbing
I know.
forgiveness.
No, being like, this is your fault. It's like,
Bye.
damn.
Irredeemable.
Oof. Oh God.
Losing her boyfriend that's shitty and that sucks.
I
It
know.
has nothing to do with the rest
It's
of it.
just.
I didn't see him cheating on her though. That was that.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sucks.
that sucks.
Sucks.
This all sucks. It sucks, but it's like, dude,
She sucked first.
it's just, it's a very compelling story. Like, this is a good drama here.
Oh yeah.
But damn, it's real.
Yeah. She should be a screenwriter now.
God,
That's why we don't bully people.
yeah, don't bully people.
Every single bully, this will happen to exactly.
Yeah.
1-to-1.
You'll get cheated on.
I wonder
You'll
what
lose your job.
I wonder what the field is too. It is true though, man. Like, I mean, be careful who you're mean to because they might be a rock star.
For sure.
And she just
Yeah.
totally blew it.
Well, so you think like if she had begged for forgiveness
Okay,
after.
let's see. After the start of this, I think she first should have accepted, like, okay, I really did that. I can't work there. I was horrible to this person.
Yeah.
Like, really, she should have did some thought of, like, what did I actually do to this person? How bad is it? And then she should have accepted, like, once her boyfriend was cheating on her, it's like, all right, I need to move to another state and, like,
Right.
do something there. It's like, that's your option if working. But
Yeah, find a different. They said like you're banned from the network of whatever. Okay, find a different network in a different state.
yeah.
I don't have
Yeah.
a boyfriend anymore.
Yeah, but I think she could have done a few steps before as well. Of like, you lost the boyfriend, but you still have an amazing job. She said she loved the work.
And she fucked her job up by not going in. I mean, I
Three
understand.
no call,
like,
no show. Like,
right. At least call
and show.
and show. Yeah,
Damn.
cry in the crying bathroom. We've all done it.
Yeah, but don't lose this amazing job because of the mans.
Yeah.
Because of the cheating mans.
Damn.
Not over a man's.
Not over man's. All right, our next story comes from Relationship Advice. I, a 22-year-old man, am in medical school, and my fiance, a 22-year-old woman, freaked out after seeing a diagram of a vagina in my anatomy textbook. Together for 6 years, I don't know what to do. Some backstory, my fiance, Annie, and I have known each other since we were children and began dating junior year of high school. After high school, we both went to our state school, and I asked her to marry me junior year of undergrad. I have always dreamt of being a doctor, as has she. When the application process began, I applied to a good mix of MD, Doctor of Medicine, and DO, Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine, schools of varying degrees of selectivity, though all med schools are insanely selective. I had initially planned on continuing my education at my state institution because I did not want to take on too much debt. I did end up getting into my state school's med school, but I was also unexpectedly offered a spot at one of the best med schools in the country, top 3 in New England. We are from the West Coast. I would have been inclined to reject the offer had I not also qualified for a partial but still significant scholarship. It would still cost me more out of pocket than my state school would, but not significantly so, maybe a couple $1,000s more. Annie, despite pleas from myself, our parents, professors, advisors, etc., applied to only our state school and to some insanely selective top 10 MD schools that she, to be blunt, had no chance of getting into, given her admittedly mediocre grades and research experience. She was rejected from all the schools she applied to, including our state institution. Obviously, this crushed her, and I have tried my best to support her during a difficult time to help her remain optimistic. Our situation now is this. I am currently enrolled at the aforementioned New England Medical School, while Annie has decided to take a year off to strengthen her profile with research experience, physician shadowing, etc., and is currently living with me. There were no jobs open related to her undergrad major, political science, here or in our home state, that would be able to give her sufficient time for research. So she is currently working part-time in the retail industry. I've tried my best to be completely supportive of her, as I know this is a difficult time for her, and I have never ever said, "I told you so," or anything along those lines. This is what ended up happening on Friday night. I was home studying for a test on Monday when Annie came home from work. She came over to my desk and kissed me. I asked her how her day went, and she didn't respond, and suddenly looked very pissed off. After a few moments, she said, "What the f*** is wrong with you?" while pointing at an anatomical diagram of a vagina in my textbook. I was speechless. After regaining my composure, I managed to let out a surprised, "What do you mean? I'm studying." To which she said something along the lines of, "You know what the f*** I mean. Why the f*** are you looking at pictures of women's vaginas?" This was very strange because she knows I occasionally watch porn and has no problem with it. In fact, I know that she enjoys porn from time to time as well. I explained to her that I have to take anatomy in medical school, but she wasn't having it. She took my textbook and stormed off to our bedroom and locked the door. I could hear her crying, and I kept apologizing. After a few minutes, she opened the door and threw her engagement ring at me before slamming it shut again to continue crying. I continued apologizing, but she did not respond at all. I spent the rest of the night on the couch. Saturday morning, she wasn't home. I checked my phone and there was a text from her saying that she was staying with a friend and that she was done with us unless I dropped out of medical school and found another job because, and this is an honest to God text from her, she doesn't want me ogling at vaginas like a fucking pervert. This is completely out of character for her. She has always been level-headed and reasonable and has no history of mental illness or anything like that. I am not a stupid person and I know that this has way more to do than a picture of a fucking vagina in an anatomy textbook, but I have no idea what to do right now. She has stopped responding to texts and won't pick up her phone. I spoke to the friend she's staying with who basically called me a fucking asshole and said that Annie is crying and getting drunk and that neither of them want me coming over to speak with her. Her parents passed when we were young children and she doesn't have any siblings or much other family. I have no idea what to do anymore. I love her more than anything, but there is absolutely no way I'm dropping out of medical school for her. And I would rather we break up than I bend to her completely unreasonable demands. But I am very concerned for her mental health right now and need any advice I can get.
Okay, well, her mental health is not your responsibility.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, that is.
This is way out of proportion and also completely unreasonable. It's definitely about her feeling inadequate.
It sounds like this is built up for a long time and it just blew up there.
Yeah. Because what she is describing without any other context is completely unreasonable. Like getting jealous over an anatomical vagina when your boyfriend is in medical school.
It sounds like a sketch.
Right.
It sounds like a joke.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
what are you looking at? It's like the things that they have up in doctor's offices.
No, like Queen, he's
Right, it
gonna
has,
look
like,
at
the-
so many vaginas in the doctor's office.
Yeah.
Like, how are you gonna deal with that?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's absolutely
No, it's
the
like,
greater picture.
like doctors see everything.
Oh, yeah.
So much so that they truly don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But it's so odd, and especially what he said, like, oh, she knows I look at porn and doesn't care.
Yeah.
This just, it almost felt like she was searching for a reason.
For sure.
And she found it.
Yeah.
I also hate the friend being like, yeah, she's so upset and she's getting drunk. It's like, I'm also triggered. It's like, okay, get drunk then.
Yeah,
Right.
it sounds like some.
Why, like, stop freaking out.
Yeah.
It sounds like some childish behavior.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We gasped at she's staying with a friend. Like over all of
Oh,
that.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah,
on.
it's and here's the thing: they're about to go into either moving across the country or a long distance relationship. This isn't gonna last.
No, and it's Annie's fault. Like this guy sounds like he said, he has never said I told you so. Like he is just taking the relationship for what it is. I think Annie probably had this other idea of we're gonna get into this big school, we're gonna be doctors together, we're gonna do this and that. Especially if they started seeing each other when they were like younger in high school, like they've known each other
Yeah.
for a while. Annie probably had this expectation, this idea of who they were gonna be. When that fell apart, she didn't react right away.
Right.
But then
She
when
was
it eventually
hoping-
came out.
she was hoping it would go. That's
Yeah.
the dangers of like when people are together really young. It's just
I was
like
about to say the same
you
thing.
might go completely separate directions in life. You may not. It might work out.
Yeah.
But you might go separate directions, and that's going to be really hard to accept that it's not going to work out. You're becoming different people.
Yeah.
And she is now trying to control him.
And the less time you spend alone, the less you have an individual identity.
Yeah.
So it's like her whole life is tied to being with him, doing the thing. And so like now that that's challenged, it's like, who the am I?
Same with OP too. Like he might also have, if this wasn't a relationship that he's practically been in his whole life,
Right.
he might have the tools to be able to recognize and be like, oh, this is probably not going to work. Instead of being more at odds of like, I love her so much. Like, of course you do. That's kind of all you've ever known.
Right.
Let me read some comments here.
Okay.
Underlying cause, she is feeling insecure because you got into medical school and she did not. Therefore, she feels bad about herself and your success is rubbing salt in the wound. Regardless of whether or not you mean to, it is. Also, I am taking you at your word that she has previously been a reasonable person and has had no prior issues with porn or sexuality. Someone else said, whatever you do, do not drop out of med school for her. If she can't handle diagrams of vaginas in a textbook, how is she going to handle your work when you become a doctor? You'll be looking at all sorts of fun body parts. If I were you, I'd break up with her. The fact she's demanding you to drop out of school is really controlling and manipulative. If she doesn't come around and stop acting like a child, then it's time to call it quits. Lastly, someone said, there's obviously something else up and she's manufacturing distance. My gut reaction would be she's cheating and she's lied to her friends about you to enable them to accept this. Take a guess why they mysteriously don't want you to go to her friends despite all of the upset. I think really this could be as simple as just
Insecurity.
his life is becoming what she kind of hoped, or she now know, like I think she sees, oh shit, he's moving on and she's sabotaging it.
Yep.
Right.
It's like, I'm just gonna blow up
Just
this
blow it up.
relationship.
And it maybe feels in her mind a little more logical to find this this like anatomy reason for her to be like, well, you have to drop out because of
I
this.
think she was searching for a reason.
Yeah,
It's the
for sure.
closest
And it's
she
like, it's
got.
not because of the vagina, it's because you did not get into medical school and you feel inadequate.
Yeah.
But she is like using that to kind of cloud her
Yeah.
reasoning and be like, no, it's this reason why.
Update. I'll save you the trouble. She wasn't cheating, nor was she pregnant. Yesterday, I decided that enough was enough, and I headed over to where she was staying, intent on ending the relationship. When I got there, she was half drunk. What followed was a lot of screaming and cussing directed at me. I learned why she wanted me to drop out. It had nothing to do with textbook vaginas. When I was a sophomore, 2 of my friends dropped out of college to work on their tech startup full-time and invited me to come work with them. My undergrad degrees was in comp sci. I rejected the offer because I wanted to concentrate on my dream, becoming a doctor. Fortunately, their startup did very well, and last year they sold it to a large tech company for a very large sum of money, in the low 8 figures. I was thrilled for them. After they sold the company, both of them obviously had large lifestyle changes. One of them proposed to his girlfriend with a ridiculously fucking big diamond, and they are frequently vacationing in exotic locations with family and SOs. Apparently, their success and lifestyles made my girlfriend extremely jealous, and she came up with the vagina thing as a way for me to drop out of med school because she thinks that I can easily get a job making $150K a year at a bank so we wouldn't have to live like fucking refugees, and that I am a fucking idiot for not doing so. Still, I was confused. I asked her about our dreams of being doctors. Turns out she never really wanted to go into medicine, but only claimed to because it was all I ever talked about. I guess that explains her application strategy. I was done. I broke up with her on the spot and told her not to contact me again. She is going to continue staying with a friend while we figure out a living arrangement. That's the end of that one.
Wow.
Dude, it's it's so sad. And I've seen this before when people just truly blow up their life. Like, they're just like, I'm gonna blow it all up.
Yeah.
It's gone. She sounds like a wreck.
The upsetting.
The fact that she was getting drunk and like, she's probably just been getting drunk for days.
Right, right.
thinking.
It breaks my heart, I think, when you hear like these partners, like this relationship that has been around for so many years, and like she just turned on him. She just like cussing, yelling, screaming. It's just like, you're not fighting like you love that person. You're fighting like you hate them.
Yeah.
Calling them a fucking idiot, like that is so painful and so hurtful. And just some people, I just think, are, in an effort to express their own feelings, just conveying so much pain on another person. And it's that lack of awareness. It's that gap that isn't discussed enough, especially between partnership.
Devastating.
Crazy. Sorry, I don't have much to say. I'm very like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad he broke up with her.
Yes.
Right then and there. I think
Yeah.
that was going to happen. It was either going to happen then or it was going to be a long, drawn-out process.
Totally.
Much better to do it now.
Yeah,
So it's
he's a
done.
smart king.
They're young. Hopefully, both of them. I mean, he's following his dream, but hopefully she can eventually recognize reality and turn things
I
around
hope she
herself.
grounds herself.
Yeah.
Last story. Today I f***ed up by not knowing that the guy I like works on the same floor as me. Happened yesterday and I still feel like I want to die. By the way, I'm 19 and he's 21. It all started when a TA for one of my classes got sick and they got someone else to fill in for a lecture. The guy they got to fill in was a fumbling mess, but damn it, he was also so cute. I did some light stalking afterward and found out he has a blog, and it was one of the most wholesome and funny things I had read in a while. He's a total nerd that's very attractive, and I'm so into that. One time I was studying in the library and saw that he took a seat near mine, so I struck up a conversation with him, and it went so great. We talked for hours, and I got no work done. Anyway, I work in a research lab on campus part-time. This past week, my PI was still out on vacation, but my mentor had full access to the lab, so I was free to do my experiments unbothered. I'm laughing at just doing experiments.
It's Dexter.
So the homunculus I made, one of my close friends also works in the same lab as me, so we've been having a blast just hanging in a basically empty lab. It was about 4 p.m. yesterday when we decided to go out into the hallway to just chill for a bit and eat some snacks. One of the doors to another lab that we were standing close to was open, but we didn't think too much about it since the entire floor was really deserted. Basically, everyone was still on holiday. We were talking about this guy she's seeing when she asked me if anything new happened between me and the awkward dude who guest lectured. I told her about what happened in the library, and she started drilling me about his facial expressions and how close he was sitting to analyze if he was into me. We were saying things like, I feel like at least one time his eyes dropped down to my lips, or did he stare at you for longer than 5.7 seconds? Because if it was, he for sure wants to f*** you. It was all for shits and giggles. Then me, being the crass, unfiltered bitch I am, went and said, I would even let him f*** me in the ass if he wanted to.
Amen.
There you go.
Get it, girl.
Amen.
And we both burst out into laughter. Disclaimer, I was kidding. Then, out of
Come on now.
Then, out of fucking nowhere, I hear footsteps coming out of the open door next to me, and both me and my friend whip around to look. Lo and behold, to my fucking terror, the guy I like walks out of the door, gives us a barely concealed shocked look, and says, hey, you guys might want to just keep it down a little bit. Then he fucking winked at me, went back inside, but left the door open. I gave my friend the most mortified look, and she mouths, holy shit, that's him. I straight up bolt down the hallway and flee down the stairs with my friend chasing behind me until I reach the outside of the building where I promptly collapse onto a bench. My friend comforted me amidst many fits of laughter while I died slowly due to the sheer embarrassment I brought onto myself. She also searched up the name of the lab that is literally three down from ours, and sure enough, he's listed under our team. This guy does not have a LinkedIn or Facebook status saying he works there. I've never even seen him in the hallways ever. Do I think he heard everything I said? Yes. Does his lack of any reaction worry me? Very much so. Do I want to dig a hole and bury myself in it? 100%. Comments. I say ask him out. He's probably into you and will more than likely appreciate the gesture. Someone said the wink is not ambiguous in my opinion. I think he's probably flattered and going to ask you out.
I was picturing us the entire time in this story.
Yeah.
Like talking about a guy. Absolutely. He comes out and winks like, girl.
Well, was the wink like, or was it like,
Yeah, they've described him as an awkward guy.
So it's got to be like a cute little doofy wink then.
If
Hey,
she
you guys
didn't get
wanna
the
keep
ick.
it down.
Oh. Yeah. Well, so if she got the ick, problem resolved. But
she didn't.
Yeah, if she's still into it, he clearly feels like he's into it. You don't need to count to 5.7.
Yeah.
Update.
Yes!
They f***ed.
Here we go. 2 months ago, I messed up. I was infatuated with this super cute guy who came in and guest lectured for one of my classes. I ended up realizing, not in a way that I wanted to at all, that he actually works 3 labs down from the lab I work at. Basically, most of the floor was on holiday, and my close friend and I were hanging around the hallway, joking about my crush on this guy when I said I would let him f me in the ass if he wanted to. He overheard, came out and told me and my friend to be quiet, then winked at me. I was so mortified. I didn't come back to the lab until winter break was over, hoping that the large influx of people would somehow prevent me from ever seeing him again. That didn't happen. On my first day back, I was in the break room making some toast when he walked in. Oh, I had thought, knowing that a confrontation was probably inevitable and that I ought to apologize for my crass comment. But instead, I frantically looked away and focused on putting peanut butter on my toast because if I do that, he can't see me, right? That didn't happen again. Instead, he came up right next to me, smiled, and said, "Hey, OP, how was your break?" I looked up awkwardly and told him it was fine, mainly just stayed on campus and worked at the lab. He told me that he basically did the same, but he went to see his family for a couple days. He didn't bring up what happened either, thank God. Then he said something along the lines of, "Is that all you're having for lunch?" And I was like, yeah, I was in a rush and forgot to pack something. Then he said, "Oh, I was gonna go grab something to eat at sandwich place near us. Do you wanna come with?" I was like, what the f***, that smooth fucker. I tried not reading into it and brushed it off as him being nice, so I said, sure, and we went. Well, we ended up having a great lunch. Inevitably, as we were on our way back, he finally made a crack and was like, "So tell me, after our lunch today, how many seconds do you think I was staring at you?" I literally just looked at him blankly with my jaw dropped before he chuckled out. "It has to be longer than 6 seconds at a time, right? That has to mean I like you." By the way, what he said was a reference to what my friend and I were talking about the day when he overheard. Yeah, we f***ing know. Even with my shock, I managed to laugh and made a wisecrack back at him. Well, tomorrow is our 1-month anniversary. We have not done the butt stuff. He told me after a couple weeks that although he appreciated my comment, he's not into putting his in buttholes.
Not yet.
Looks like I will
What about her strapping on and pegging him?
There you go.
Hey, looks like I will be retaining my butt virginity, and I managed to get a super cute, intelligent, and kind boyfriend out of this whole ordeal.
Oh my God.
That's so cute.
Okay.
I never want to hear butt virginity again.
No,
Ever.
yeah, she said a lot of stuff in here that I was like, this is a really cute story, and you seem really nice. Don't make me hate
Stop
you.
saying
No, I love her. She sounds fun and
Yeah,
cheeky.
she sounds great.
It's very funny. I'm so glad we get like a nice little positive story.
Oh,
Yes.
I love a little happy ending.
He sounds not awkward and smooth and hot
Doesn't
and
sound
tall.
awkward at all. She sounds awkward as
right.
No.
She's awkward as shit.
No, it's charming on
he's
her.
probably just a little doofy guy.
Yeah.
He's not doofy, you guys.
Doofy is a good thing.
Doofy is not a good thing.
No?
No, doofy is like,
We'll
Guys,
offline about
this is our guest lecturer, Hugh Grant. I do say, was I staring at you for more than 6 seconds?
oh God, no, I got the egg.
Very sweet. Very
Yay.
cute.
I love that little ending.
Yeah.
Nice.
How long ago was that?
So this was, I don't know how long the update was, but as of posting it, they had been dating for a month. So.
There was a break, so.
It's roughly a year ago that this all
I have a
transpired.
baby now.
Oh,
Yeah.
with the Moana water bottle.
So they could be happy
Puffer
now.
jacket.
Yay.
They could
And the baby made 4 figures.
And plagiarize.
Yeah. Look, our baby bought cryptocurrency. He's now a billionaire.
Wow.
Should we still buy him a little toy truck?
That's a segment. That's a segment I think we should do at the end of the Reddit stories. Is piece all of them together so that they all become one storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My little baby bullied another little baby. And
Yeah.
now that other little baby is really successful.
Right.
I won't let my little
And
baby
has a
work.
$70,000 car.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn.
Wow.
Thank you both for being here.
Hey, thanks so much.
Yeah.
This was.
Tommy and I are actually lovers. Not many know.
Okay.
It's our 1 month as well.
That's great. All right.
I feel like I'm leaning and you're not.
I wonder why.
I'm like.
End it! End the video.
That's so
Conclude
funny.
it.
That's so funny. All right, let's do this. Hey, have fun at school, whatever part of school you're in. If you're in grade school, I don't know if you should be watching these videos, especially what's transpired in these stories. But good luck to you all out there. And let us know what other themes and subreddits you want us to cover on the show. And we'll see you next Saturday. Bye.
I'm literally crying.